When the lights went out, chaos swallowed the courtroom. Screams, footsteps, the sound of metal crashing, everything blurred into confusion. The prosecutor stood still for a moment, gripping his folder tightly, heart pounding like a drum. He could feel the panic, the fear, the uncertainty. Then, suddenly, gunfire. One shot. Then another. Gasps. A body dropped. And before he could react, someone yanked him backward. Before we start, hit that like and subscribe button, then comment where you're watching from. Your support keeps these powerful stories coming. Security rushed in with flashlights, shouting orders, but the scene was already shattered. The once orderly courtroom had turned into a crime scene. As the lights flickered back on, everyone saw it. The judge's bench was empty. The chair was spinning. The man who once mocked the prosecutor had vanished. Whispers filled the air. Some said he ran. Others said someone took him. But one thing was certain, he didn't just disappear. Someone wanted him gone. The prosecutor, shaken but composed, picked up the papers that had scattered across the floor. Half of the evidence was missing. The folder had been tampered with in the darkness. The most damning documents were gone. Someone had planned this blackout. Someone powerful. He turned to the bailiffs, demanding every camera footage, every exit checked. But then, an officer hesitated before responding. "Sir, the security feeds were wiped. Every single one." That's when the prosecutor knew, this wasn't just about one corrupt judge. It was bigger. Much bigger. Later that night, in his small office downtown, he replayed the events over and over in his head. The timing, the blackout, the missing files, it all pointed to an inside job. He reached for his phone to call a contact from Internal Affairs, but before he could dial, a message appeared on his screen. It was from an unknown number. No name, no ID. Just one line. "Stop digging, or you'll end up like him." He froze. His hands trembled as he read it again. Then came the second message, an image attachment. He opened it slowly. It was the judge. Bound. Gagged. Eyes wide with fear. And behind him, a symbol painted on the wall. A red circle with a single slash through it. The prosecutor stared at it, realization dawning in his eyes. He had seen that mark before, on old case files, sealed investigations that mysteriously disappeared from the system. Files tied to a secret group operating within the justice system itself. He leaned back, exhaling shakily. "So it's true," he whispered. "They still exist." But before he could react, the lights in his office flickered. Once. Twice. Then, darkness again. And this time, he wasn't alone. The silence in the room was suffocating. The prosecutor's breath hitched as the faint hum of the fluorescent lights died completely. Only the sound of his own heartbeat filled the darkness. He reached slowly for his phone, using the dim glow of the screen to scan the shadows. "Who's there?" he whispered. No answer. Just the creak of a floorboard behind him. He turned fast, but nothing. Then a faint smell hit him, cigar smoke. The same scent he noticed in the judge's chambers the day of the trial. Someone was sending a message. Before he could move, a low voice cut through the dark. "You should have stayed quiet." The prosecutor spun around and caught a glimpse of a tall figure wearing a black coat, face hidden beneath a hood. "Who are you?" he demanded. The figure chuckled. "You already know. You just don't want to believe it." Then, static crackled. His office phone started ringing. Slowly. Repeatedly. The sound echoing like a countdown. He edged toward it, eyes locked on the shadow. The figure didn't move. The phone kept ringing. He picked it up with shaking hands. "You're in over your head," the voice on the line warned. "Walk away, or the next name on the list will be yours." Then the call ended. The shadowed man was gone. No door opened, no sound of footsteps, just the faint smell of smoke lingering in the air. The prosecutor sank into his chair, gripping the phone tight. He thought about the message, the missing judge, the files that vanished in the dark. Everything pointed back to one thing, the Order of the Red Mark. An underground network of elites who used the justice system to silence anyone who threatened them. He'd read whispers about them years ago. But everyone said they were just a myth. Until now. The next morning, he arrived at the courthouse only to find police swarming the parking lot. Another official was dead, a senior clerk found in her car, file folders shredded beside her. A red mark painted across her windshield. It was the same symbol from the photo. Reporters filled the scene, asking questions no one could answer. The prosecutor's stomach tightened. Whoever was behind this wasn't just erasing people, they were sending warnings. As he stood there, lost in thought, a young officer approached quietly. "Sir," she said, handing him a small envelope, "someone dropped this off for you." He opened it carefully. Inside was a single photo, him, standing outside his office last night, looking terrified. And on the back, scrawled in red ink, "We see you." His blood ran cold. He looked around the crowd. So many faces. Any one of them could be watching him. He knew he couldn't go to the police, he didn't know who to trust anymore. He needed proof, something undeniable. He decided to visit someone from his past, a retired journalist who once tried to expose the same group and vanished off the grid after threats. Maybe she still had answers. That night, he drove miles outside the city to a rundown cabin near the woods. The porch light was on. He stepped out of his car, checking his surroundings. As he knocked on the door, it creaked open slightly on its own. "Hello," he called out. No answer. The air smelled like smoke again. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. Papers littered the floor. The fireplace crackled weakly. Then he froze. On the wall, scrawled in ashes, was that same red symbol. And beside it, a fresh photo. His own face. Taken just seconds ago. He turned slowly toward the doorway. Someone was standing there. Watching. Breathing. Waiting. The air was heavy with dread. The prosecutor's chest tightened as the figure in the doorway stepped closer, their boots crunching broken glass beneath each step. The dim firelight revealed part of a face, sharp jawline, calm eyes that held no fear. "You're late," the figure said, voice low but steady. The prosecutor's hand hovered over his pocket where he kept his small revolver. "Who are you?" he demanded. The figure smiled faintly. "Someone who warned you not to dig too deep." The prosecutor froze. That voice. It was familiar. Too familiar. The figure slowly pulled back their hood, and his world tilted. It was the journalist, the one he came searching for. But her face looked tired, worn, like someone who had seen too much. "You shouldn't have come here," she whispered. "They already know you're onto them." He stepped back, confusion twisting inside him. "You're alive. Everyone said you disappeared years ago." "I did," she said quietly. "Because I had to. The order doesn't forgive curiosity." She tossed a burned folder onto the table. Inside were photos of judges, prosecutors, and corporate figures. Some marked with red symbols. Some already crossed out. "They don't just control the courts," she continued. "They control everything, from verdicts to elections." The prosecutor flipped through the files, his stomach turning. Every page was darker than the last. "Why show me this now?" he asked. She looked at him, eyes glinting in the firelight. "Because you're next. And because you're the only one who can expose them." He swallowed hard. "Then help me." She hesitated, then reached for a drawer and pulled out a small flash drive. "This has everything, their accounts, the transactions, the hit lists. But if you take this, there's no going back." Before he could answer, the window shattered. Bullets tore through the cabin walls. Both dove to the ground as splinters flew everywhere. The fire burst, lighting up the room in chaos. Outside, black SUVs screeched to a halt. Men in masks jumped out with rifles. "Move," the journalist shouted. They scrambled toward the back door, bullets chasing them through the smoke. They stumbled into the woods, running blindly through the cold night. Sirens wailed in the distance. She handed him the flash drive as they ducked behind a fallen tree. "If I don't make it, find Agent Rivera, she's one of the few left who's clean," she gasped. He nodded, gripping it tight. Then came another gunshot. She collapsed. He caught her before she hit the ground, blood staining his sleeve. "Stay with me," he pleaded. Her eyes flickered open. "Trust no one in the courthouse," she whispered. Not even, her voice trailed off before she could finish. The prosecutor looked up, heart pounding. Headlights cut through the trees. The masked men were closing in fast. He pressed his hand to her pulse, it was fading. He grabbed the flash drive, stood, and ran. Branches whipped against his face as he fled through the forest, not daring to look back. When he finally reached the edge of the highway, he stumbled to a stop, panting. He flagged down a passing truck and climbed in. The driver, an older man with a kind face, glanced over and said, "You look like you've seen a ghost." The prosecutor tried to catch his breath. "You have no idea," he muttered. Then the driver smiled faintly and said, "Oh, I think I do." The prosecutor turned slowly, and his blood ran cold. On the man's wrist, faintly visible under the sleeve of his jacket, was a red mark. Comment below if you know what is about to happen below. Also don't forget to follow, subscribe and turn on the notification button for part 3 because hear what shocking connection the prosecutor has to them.